This video is sponsored by no one.
You know when someone makes one of those really terrible jokes? Like not the James Gunn kind of jokes, but just those really politically incorrect jokes that you kind of laugh at, but then you instantly feel really guilty about? Like, ha ha ha, hoo hoo, hoo hoo. Well, that's this movie for 2 hours. BlacKkKlansman is about Ron Stallworth, an African-American police officer from Colorado, successfully managed to infiltrate the local Ku Klux Klan and become the head of the local chapter. So first of all, this film has some of the best performances I've seen this year. John David Washington, who I've never even heard of until this movie came out, well, he was just so charismatic. He has this razor-sharp wit and the kind of comedic timing that you can only really dream about. I'll now put him in that bracket of like, I'll watch anything this dude does. Also, the way that he says white makes me laugh every single time. Adam Driver continues to make some really phenomenal choices in which roles he takes, and I gotta say, out of all the characters in BlacKkKlansman, he had the best arc. Laura Harrier, Ryan Eggold, and Paul Walter Hauser are all fantastic as well, but they really take the backseat, leaving more room for our leads to execute this hilarious but really impactful dialogue. Spike Lee, now fuck, it is so good to have him back. Like, not that he went anywhere, but he's just like, he's doing TV and documentaries and filming like one-man shows. He's one of the few directors that like I didn't even think about until they've got a new movie coming out, and then I get all excited, but then he just kind of like fades away for a bit. Also, with how shitty Old Boy was back in 2013, he's definitely made up for it in spades. Now I've got to talk about the script for a bit, because that's where this movie really shines. The dialogue in the movie is really odd, but really unique. And the reason why is because even though it's kind of built as a comedy, it's more just finding comedy in some really dark subject matter. Honestly, this movie had me like giggle snorting in the middle of the theatre in one scene, but then takes a complete 180 a few seconds later, and you almost feel bad for laughing because all of a sudden they dump the importance and the weight of the situation right in your fucking lap. It almost has more in common with 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri in that sense, but I'm just not sure whether this was by design or whether it was actually able to balance its tone correctly. Honestly, some of the imagery in BlacKkKlansman is disgustingly haunting, and at the end of the film, it's a real fucking gut punch. I really enjoyed the movie, and I can actually say that I loved the movie, but I just wasn't prepared for just how impactful the film was because of how light and breezy the marketing for the film was. And what's even worse is that there are still people who believe this KKK shit around today, highlighted in the film with some news footage from last year's Black Lives Matter protests. So would I recommend BlacKkKlansman? Well, with how I'm feeling right now, I would say that it's almost required viewing, not just as a film, but just as a political statement, and even just as a human being. Now, I'm not sure where this rates in my favourite films of the year, but on August 16th, when the movie comes out, I'm going to be seeing it again. So yes, this movie is totally worth a full price ticket, and it definitely deserved the Grand Prix at Cannes. So thank you so much for checking out my review of BlacKkKlansman. Let me know down below what you thought of the film. Don't forget to like, share, and slip a finger up the subscribe button skirt. And of course, if you like this review and want to see more, please click share to see more. Thanks for watching.